Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Steve from UCAN English Tutoring. I would like to welcome all the OET aspirants to this OET Speaking Role Play Assessment session. In this session, I'm going to assess one of my students' role play conversations word by word, provide the feedback against each assessment criteria, and finally disclose the approximate score that may be available for this role play conversation. What are you waiting for? Let's jump into it straight away.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Charlotte. I'm Priyanka, one of the listeners on this emergency department.
So when you say one of the registered nurse, that is going to be a plural noun. We cannot say one of the registered nurse because one of and one amongst as well as one among always require a plural noun after them. As a result, you should use one of the registered nurses. I hope you can understand from here. Let's continue.
You
Hi,
look so worried. Could you please tell me what is bothering you?
Could you please tell me what is bothering you? Instead of saying, could you please tell me what is bothering you? It's better to use only one time what. I mean, we don't need to commit the background noises and false starts when we have to talk about. So you can say, could you please tell me what is bothering you? Rather than saying, could you please tell me what is bothering you? Let's continue.
the drip is going on, right? I really scared about this can harm me some way. I so anxious about this drip which is running. Could you please tell me?
Yes, Mrs. Charlene, I can acknowledge your concern, but don't worry. This intravenous drip is to stabilize your electrolytes balance as you came with some abnormal heart rhythm.
It is amazing to see such kinds of way of addressing the concerns. You are actually motivating the patient. You are providing encouragement to the patient, which can help the patient to deal with their concerns. You are infusing the positive thing to the patient, which is really great. And I'm so happy to hear such kinds of positive phrases from you. However, you have been committing some kinds of background noises such as and so on in between. So these kinds of background noises need to be avoided completely if possible, or at least reduced, in order to get really good score under the pronunciation factor, because pronunciation is going to be one of the key assessment parameters that can help you to achieve B grade in OET speaking.
Did you understand it? I did.
So that the doctor have advised to start intravenous drip. So it
Unfortunately, the doctor have advised is wrong. Whenever you talk about the singular nouns in the third form, that is third person singular nouns, we have to always use has. So the doctor has advised, and you can continue with that, right? So never ever use, have instead of has. So you can't use have, but you have to use has with the he, she, it, and their pronouns, such as the doctor, the engineer, or the names of the people. I hope you guys understand this critical error. Using the verbs and nouns appropriately is one of the main assessment parameters under grammar. If you commit many more mistakes under this category, your chances of passing with B grade may be slim. I hope you understand this and you will rectify this error further.
will stabilize your electrolytes balance. Are you clear with that?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Um,
Okay, Mrs. Charlene, to provide with better care, could you please tell me more about your dietary habits, what you take in the breakfast and the lunch?
It's great. It's good to ask the questions accurately, and you have done a wonderful job. So the way you are asking the questions is absolutely great. So you were able to ask questions to the point that is mind blowing.
Could you please elaborate me?
My
Could you please elaborate to me? Okay, instead of saying could you please elaborate me, it is better to use could you please elaborate to me, isn't it? Because you're going to ask someone to do something to you. So could you please elaborate to me? This is going to be more appropriate.
eating habits is okay. There is no need. There is not relation between the eating habits and with the drip, isn't it? Is there any?
Yes, Mrs. Charlene, I can sense your thought. By knowing your eating habits and your health issue you are having, that is has some kind of relationship. If you tell me more about your eating habits, we can provide you with better treatment. It will help us to uh, provide you with better treatment.
Well, you have mentioned the same thing again. It will help us to provide you with a better treatment. So you don't need to tell the same thing two times because they may damage your score. You could have used maybe better phrases. And the other issue is that you were not using the proper pronunciation. You have to speak without any background noises. Please understand that you shouldn't commit any kinds of background noises.
A few moments later.
How does that sounds?
How does that sounds? This is again a mistake. You can't use how does that sounds, but when you have to say how does, then you have to use only the verb after that. So it's going to be how does that sound? All right, I hope you understand here, because this sounds is going to be split into does plus sound, and we have to ask the questions. You have to put it here, the does should go here and then the verb should go here. I hope you understand the relationship between does and the main verb, and you have to ask the question.
No, how can you ask a personal habits of mine? I cannot tell my personal habit. So what does it relate to this and this one? I don't want to tell my personal habits.
Yes, Mrs. Charlene, I can totally understand your concern. The diet which we take, it really plays a vital role in our health. So if you take less diet or unhealthy diet, it might cause this kind of symptoms in your body. That's
So this kind of symptoms is wrong. You should say this these kinds of symptoms, because you're using the plural noun. So you have to use the phrases appropriately. So it should be these kinds of symptoms. And the other problem is the background noises. You are still committing some kinds of hesitations as well as background noises, such as and so on, because those things can damage your score like anything under the pronunciation criteria.
why I'm asking your dietary habits. Could you please tell me more about your dietary habits?
The way you are trying to convince the patient is amazing. Under the clinical assessment criteria, you should be able to get a better score. However, in the language criteria, you have been committing some mistakes. Let's continue.
Okay, okay, Nurse. I will tell my diet. I eat more. I drink a lot of caffeine and I eat actually fast foods. So I stay alone. So when I go work, when I go for work, I eat from outside a lot rather than eating at home, preparing at home.
Okay, Mrs. Charlene. Thank you for the information. I will
We need to always thank the patient if they confirm the information or if they share the information with us. And you are doing a wonderful job. I am so impressed that the way you are dealing with the patient.
ask the mental health doctor and he will come and see you soon and he will assess your health.
So why psychiatric doctor will come to see me? These doctors are only for crazy people, and there is nothing wrong with my mind, right? So why do you want me to see a psychiatric doctor?
Yes, Mrs. Charlene, I can totally understand your concern. If I were you, I would react the same. but the mental
That's amazing. If I were you, I would react the same, but it's not the same, but the same way. Okay. So if I were you, I would react the same. So this is what you have mentioned. So instead of that, you can say, I would react in the same way. Okay, this is going to be more appropriate. All right. But the way you are trying to understand the problems of the patient in their footsteps is amazing. You should be able to get really good scores under the clinical assessment criteria. And let's assess the remaining part of your role play.
health doctor. He will come and just talk with you to know more about your dietary habits, about your lifestyle and everything.
You don't need to use about several times. Okay, so about you, about your diet. All right, so this is what you're saying about your diet, about your lifestyles. Okay, so you don't need to use so many about. We can simply say once only. For example, you can say the doctor will get to know about you, your lifestyle, and your diet. That's it. All right, we don't need to use about every time. Okay.
It's not a big deal, and it doesn't mean that you have some mental health issue, or he will just
Issue or so, you have to say, instead of saying issue or, and then you have given a pass, which is not good. You have to always use the complete sentences. We cannot just stop like this, issue or. You can say issue or so on, otherwise issue or something. Okay, so try to complete the sentence, please, whenever you speak, as well as write.
come and assess you, and he will provide some other treatment method. Is that okay for you?
It's great to get the confirmation from the patient when you share a piece of advice or so, and you have been doing a wonderful thing by requesting the consent from the patient.
Okay, thank you.
That's amazing.
I understood.
Okay. Okay, Mrs. Shalin. I will be there. He will come and assess you shortly. If you have any concern in between, you can call me at any time. Thank you.
Ayoda, 5 minutes na record.
Okay, so that's a great thing. You were able to consistently display good clinical communication skills throughout your role play conversations. Let me go through the assessment against each criteria first before you can let me tell you the score for this role play conversation. Okay, first thing is grammar could have been a little bit better because you were committing some issues in association with the singular and plural nouns and verbs. So use of nouns and verbs could have been much better, isn't it? It could have been improved. It could have been improved a lot. All right, because you are committing the issues in relation to has, have, and so on, and then some sentences were incomplete and incorrect, isn't it? So you were not able to complete some of the sentences because you stopped in the end, but instead of finishing the sentence, you didn't use the last words. For example, issue are, and then you stopped. That's not really good. Okay, and the use of prepositions and articles could be improved as well. Okay, so you can improve the articles as well as the prepositions. That can be another one. And the next one is the use of verbs. Definitely, that can be done in a more appropriate manner. Your clinical communication skills are amazing. I'm quite happy with the way you are dealing with the clinical communication skills. Okay, they are absolutely a delight to listen to. Okay, I'm very happy in this aspect. And your pronunciation could have been little bit better. Pronunciation needs to be improved slightly. All right, and the other issue is that you have to give a small pause of 1 to 2 seconds only after every sentence. However, in some occasions you were giving longer pauses, whereas in other occasions you were not at all giving any pauses between two sentences, which is not good. You have to maintain the rhythm of your overall speaking communication skills throughout the role play. Okay, that is really, really important. You were able to use sympathetic phrases which can help you out a lot to score well. You should use more synonyms because vocabulary is going to be one of the assessment criteria as well. Use more simple, complex, and compound sentences. All right, that could be another area to focus on. You could have used more connectors when you speak out the sentences with, because this can ensure that the information is going to be shared very effectively. You were friendly, encouraging, as well as resourceful throughout the role play conversation, which is amazing. So this is one of the key skills you have to have in order to achieve your desired scores. Now I'm going to disclose the expected score for this role play conversation. Although your clinical communication skills were amazing throughout the role play conversations, as far as the language criteria is concerned, you could have done a better job. Your pronunciation could have been much better because you have committed several background noises and false starts in the role play conversations. As a result, I'm not quite comfortable to give you 350 for this role play, but I'm definitely happy to give you at least 340 for this role play conversations. It is definitely a decent role play conversation, and I'm pretty sure if you can reduce some of these errors, this can easily fetch you B grade for this role play conversation. We need to always understand that word by word corrections are always essential for you to unlock your OET success with the personalized role play conversations. You can contact me today and let's work together to achieve your dream score. I'm happy to offer free correction word by word and make sure you understand the weak areas on where you have to improve your skill. So don't miss the chance to get expert feedback on your OET speaking role play conversations. To get the free correction for your first role play conversation, please get in touch with me on my mobile or WhatsApp number, which is +61 468 480 877.
Thank you for watching, everybody.